So it is Sunday, the 21st of... Good day.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're doing?
I'm doing chalk slogans protesting against cover-up of clergy abuse.
Okay, perfect. So it's not the first time you're here, I think?
No.
Okay, so you know the rules, you know...
I think I know all of them, and I think it includes being able to do chalk slogans.
Okay, so you gotta take care of yourself?
I usually do, yeah.
Just don't go in the road, because it might be dangerous if they turn left and they don't see you.
Yeah, I try to stay out of the road, yeah. Especially with the bikes now.
If there's anything, you can call us, okay?
Sure. Yeah, I probably should have called you in September, but... Check the videos, you can see.
Will I be on YouTube?
You might.
I might.
But see, you know what?
No, because I'm nice.
No, but and I'll say that, because I will say that if you go to YouTube and you look for polite professional SPVM intervention, you'll find YouTubes from me.
Yeah.
About interventions
and I
here.
will see my face. My
No, I think they already exist. Il y a déjà des interventions où, ici, oui, avec Station 11, où les policiers étaient polis et professionnels.
Okay.
Et j'ai dit ça. Il y a aussi des bêtises, mais ça, c'est une autre histoire. Non, mais honnêtement, vous êtes correct. Alors,
I support the Habs too, but they won't want the cup today.
il y a une chanson, Leonard Cohen, Beautiful Loser, je pense. OK, merci.
La gagne la coupe, là, vous pensez?
Peut-être dans une autre décennie. Non, mais honnêtement...
Prenez soin de vous.
Oh oui.
Espérant qu'il mouille pas.
Je pense que c'est pour l'après-midi ou le soir. OK? Bonne journée.
Bye-bye, bonne journée à vous.
So that's what I call a polite and professional SPVM intervention. Police car pulled up as I was writing chalk slogans. And in the past, I've been threatened with tickets for writing chalk slogans. I've even been given one ticket for writing chalk slogans, which I don't believe I should have been given, and I did contest it. But I got one of these hard-nosed judges who upheld the ticket, and I should have appealed the decision, but for whatever reason I didn't. And so that ticket is still outstanding. I'll have to do something about it, but I'm not paying it as far as I'm concerned. I never should have got it. But that's what I call a reasonable and polite and professional, even friendly SPVM police intervention today. So, you know, that's how it should be when there is one. I mean, most of the time there shouldn't be. In fact, I was going to mention today that that it is now more than a year, or it was. This is an intervention. It happens to be what I'd call a polite and professional and even friendly one. But it is an intervention. You know, the police saw me drawing chalk slogans. I don't know if they were called to the church, if they just happened to see me, and they decided to stop and have a little chat. So it's an intervention. It's not necessarily one where they were actually called to the church. I'm going to continue with the chalk slogan. But, you know, he asked me what I was doing. I told him, and I even specifically said that as far as I'm concerned, I have a right to write chalk slogans. He did not contest that. And I think that's, you know, how it should be. And I even told him in my, you know, he asked if I would, if he would be on YouTube, and I said, yeah, you probably will, because I put pretty much everything up. And you know, when there is what I consider to be a polite and professional SPVM intervention, I put that up as well. I put up the ones where they behave badly, because I want people to be aware of that, but I also want people to be aware of the good interventions. I especially want the police to be aware of the good interventions, so that when they do intervene, and not just in my protest, but any protest, that they intervene in a way that's polite and professional. So I'd say today's intervention was polite and professional, and not the slightest intimidation or anything. Basically said, you know the rules and that, and I said, I think I do, and that was that. And that's how it should be. As far as I'm concerned, there's really no need for police interventions at all, really. Rarely anyway. I mean, there's been some times when I've been assaulted, or I've had picket signs stolen or something, and I'd say, the very, very few occasions where I've called the police have been justified, and which is actually more than can be said for the many times that Montreal Unitarians have called the police, because on some occasions they've actually called in completely and utterly false complaints to the police. They have falsely accused me of assaulting people when I've done no such thing, and they've accused me of blocking circulation on the sidewalk when I've done no such thing. Actually, one of the good things the officer said in this intervention was, like, call us, if you feel the need to. Like he basically said, that they're there for me too, and that's how it should be too. If there's a problem, and if I'm being, if I've been assaulted, or I've had my picket sign stolen or something, I should be able to call the police and have them deal with it. So that went very well. I was actually going to mention today how it had been well over a year since there'd been a police intervention. The last time was, before today, was May 1st of last year, so more than a year. So this is the other thing is, excuse me, okay, I'm going to go down here and do another chalk slogan. The point I'm trying to get to here is that the fact that there's been zero police intervention between May 1st of last year and today's intervention, which, by the way, found nothing wrong with what I was doing, which is as it should be, as far as I'm concerned, that calls into question the vast majority of the previous interventions by SPVM police officers, which sought to essentially force an end to my protest with threats of tickets, or threats of criminal charges, or even actual criminal charges that were completely bogus and that I successfully defended myself against in court. So yeah, when one considers that a whole year and more can go by without a single SPVM intervention in my protest, and I'm not doing anything different now than I was before, it does raise the question, well, what about all those dozens, if not hundreds, literally, of other police interventions? Now, there's definitely dozens, but if you count them all up since the beginning of the protest, it's very possible that there's over 100 SPVM interventions in my protest. I never calculated, I don't have a list or anything like that, but if you just figure out how many Sundays I've protested and how many of them had police interventions, it's a lot. So yeah, I don't have room for the S at the end of Unitarians there, so I'm going to have to come up with a different slogan. Let's see. I'll just put Unitarian clergy abuse sucks, I think. Now, I'm using the word sucks here because some brilliant Unitarians thought it'd be a good idea to start an attack blog titled Robin Edgar Sucks. So, since Unitarians can say I suck as a human being, I think I can at least say that certain bad behavior on the part of Unitarian Universalist clergy does in fact suck. So yeah, Unitarian clergy view sucks. There we go. So that's 2 chalk slogans down. We might put down another one for good measure up the other end of the sidewalk, but I think we're just going to start circulating. And I really have to say that that little police intervention went very well. And, you know, I don't think it was just impromptu. I think, you know, that they probably had either been called to the church by a Montreal Unitarian, or for whatever reasons they had received instructions to come by and have a look, kind of thing. But they were great. I have no complaints about how they handled that. As I said, I don't think any police intervention is necessary, but on the other hand, you know, in a way, it's not a bad thing for the police to show up and just check out everything and make sure everything's okay, and just make sure, you know, that I'm aware of all the rules and everything, and also make me aware that they're ready to help me if I need help. That's a good thing. So fair enough. I'm not gonna say they shouldn't have come by at all. I think the way that was handled, you know, it was justifiable. I don't think it was necessary necessarily, but it was a justifiable, friendly little police intervention. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, that's how it should be when there's a police intervention at the Unitarian Church of Montreal, unless, you know, I do something seriously wrong, which I generally do not. In fact, I don't think I've done anything, you know, of a criminal nature, and I don't think I've really done anything worthy of getting a ticket. The threats of tickets and the actual tickets were abusive as far as I'm concerned, and basically designed to, you know, intimidate me into ending the protest. You know, like, you rack up so many hundreds or even thousands of dollars worth of tickets, it can dissuade you from protesting, you know, just on the financial side of things. And there's no question that there's an element of that in how SPVM police have repressed other protests in the past. And I think maybe they're moving away from that. I certainly hope they're moving away from that. So anyhow, I'm actually kind of glad that happened, and I was able to record it. I saw the police, you know, pull up behind me while I was writing the chalk slogan. I don't normally run the video when I'm actually writing the slogan, because it's just, you know, extra boring kind of thing. It's bad enough just walking back and forth and, you know, running a monologue. But you know, when I saw that the police, you know, had pulled up and looked like they were stopping, I started up the video to record, you know, whatever happened. And, you know, I'm happy to be able to report that what happened was, you know, fine as far as I'm concerned. But it is interesting because, you know, to somewhat repeat myself, because, you know, on May 1st, or near May 1st, I celebrated 1 full year of no SPVM police intervention. You know, I actually had intended today to talk about, you know, all of the police interventions that were completely unnecessary, that were abusive, and so on. So we might as well continue on with that. You know, when I first started protesting in May of 1998, yes, that's going back almost 20 years. It's basically been 19 years since I began the protest. And next year, if I'm still protesting, I'll be celebrating the 20th anniversary sometime in May. I went to the Westmount Police Department, Station 12, because that was the police station that the Unitarian Church of Montreal's territory was within at that time. When I told them what I was planning to do, I sought the information I needed to do it legally and so on, and essentially to avoid getting into trouble with the police, and to do it legally and so on. And they gave me some information. They didn't give me actually all the information I needed. Oh yeah, I also was concerned as to whether or not I needed a permit, because for larger protests, I don't think it's necessary now, but there was a time, I think, when permits were required, and I was essentially told, no, you don't need a permit. So that was another reason why good day. Another reason why I, talked to the police. Just as I said, wanted to do everything legally, and if there was a permit required, I wanted to obtain that permit. So that's, like I said, May of 1998, and I protested. And police did come by once or twice. Again, these were Station 12 Westmount cops. When I first began my protest, I didn't circulate. I essentially stood near the entrance of the church here, where this garbage can is. It wasn't actually there at the time, so I basically stood where that garbage can is and had a couple of picket signs, and people saw them as they went into the church. But then the police came by sometime later and said, you have to circulate. You got to walk back and forth on the sidewalk. That's part of what you need to do. So I started doing that, and actually